confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zimet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zimet Show, where being the best you just gets easier with every guest I have. Today my guest is Carleeka, calling in from Georgia. Welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you so much, Beverly, and thank you for the opportunity to come and hang out with you on this morning. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's morning in some places, afternoon in others, and even the next day in others. Isn't that crazy?
I know, right?
But we all want to, we just want to welcome you all to the show and thank you for joining us today. Carleeka, you and I were talking a little bit about what's in a name, right? Because we have all kinds of names and different, meanings with those names and why we chose the names that we did with that vibration, and we begin to understand what those vibrations are all about. There's even modalities out there that specifically tell you each letter of the name and how that happens in that replication. So finding out what my name meant was really amazing, and how it's important not to cut your name off. So when somebody says Bev, it's like, oh, wait a minute, it's Beverly, right? Because again, it's that power, it's that energy, it's a part of who you are and everything, right? When you really begin to understand that and why things flow differently, throughout your life. So when you look at your name, and it's a beautiful name, Carleeka, it's like, wow. And if you were to separate it, and we shared a little bit about that earlier before the show, but kind of go through that and why it's important that you chose the name that you did and how that impacts your world, and how, like you were saying, the difference between, certain names and personalities, with certain names and all that kind of stuff. Share that with the audience, because it's really fascinating.
So when we think about some names, and you all, I'm not going to say any because I don't want anyone getting offended and be like, Carleeka, what she was talking about, I don't even know you. But the thing is, think about a name of godly. It's so hard not to call, but I won't call any. But when we think of certain names of individuals, and everyone seems to have, the persons that have that name, they all seem to have the same personality traits, same characteristics, same attitude, or whatever comes with that same synergy, that same energy. And you're just like, wow, said I wasn't going to say the name, they kind of act the same. And so with my name, you all, I don't really know what it means, because my parents, it's a little bit of my mom's name and a little bit of my dad's name. But I come with a lot of energy. Look, I work at night, so I really even haven't slept today like I should, but I always have energy, 24/7, just always this ball of energy. And so I love what Beverly said. Yes, sometimes you have nicknames and all these different things, but embrace your name. I was just at a charity brunch last Sunday, and the lady was talking about, oh my God, I never really embraced my name. So I went by so many nicknames. And so I'm like, wow. But how many people out there, you hate what your parents called you. You hate the people always butchering your name. So now let them know, teach them, don't allow them to call you anything. So that's why I'm very protective of my name. I'm very protective of my space, because when we have this constant flow in our life of energy, synergy, peace, joy, happiness, when you walk in that, you won't allow people to call you outside of anything but your full name. And so some of you all may even see Carleeka Basnight-menendez. Yes, I go by it all. When I do my lives, it's Carleeka Katrina Basnight-menendez. Yes, all of that. So now I have followers, and they're like, yes, all of that.
That is so funny. It just rolls off your tongue. Like, it's like, okay. I want to share something. When I was growing up, right? I kind of purposely cut my name off to Bev versus Beverly, because when my mom said my full name, Beverly, right, I said, oops, right? But when she said Beverly Ann, it's like, okay, that's it. Next step is going to be, I'm really in trouble. Right?
You're in big trouble now if she said Beverly Ann.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we put our names off and we just do things differently like that, right? And then when I went through, it started my journey into really finding my true identity and stuff, because I lost my identity. And again, your name is your identity, right? I had gotten married, my last name changed. I had 4 years where I just snowballed downhill, and I never really understood it. It actually put me to the edge of suicide, just because, that energy, and there was a lot of other things that went on that. But, again, sharing what the power is in that name. And when I started taking my identity back, because when I was referred to by, oh, you belong to so-and-so, and they'd give your husband's name. Oh, yeah, you're so-and-so's mom. Oh, yeah, you do this. Oh, yeah. And it's like, wait a minute, I have a name. And I would start saying, no, my name is Beverly.
Yes.
All of a sudden you get this deer in the headlight look, right? You're like, what?
And I love what you said. That was one of the reasons, because I had so much. So Menendez is my married name, but I had so much attached to Basnight. First of all, that last name, it's a rarity. You don't find a lot of people with the last name Basnight. And
right.
So I was just like, I'm just going to add him on, because number one, he's an addition to my life. He's not the completion to my life. He's an addition. And so even
right.
if I were to get a divorce or anything, I'm going to always be Carleeka Basnight. But
that's so true. And I think, I got chills on that. Thank you so much for that, because it really does make a difference, when you look at the numerology and what your name means and everything and how it works. When I took my maiden name back, Zymet is my maiden name, right? And when I went through, my journey and I got my divorce, when I walked out of that, out of that courtroom, when the judge asked me, is there anything else you want in this decree? And I said, yeah, I want my maiden name back, right? And he said, spell it. And I did. And he signed it. And the freedom that I felt, I don't know what it is about courthouses, but they have this massive amount of stairs that you got to go down, right? It's crazy. But with every step I went down, I felt more empowered and more empowered and more empowered. And I said out loud, walking down those stairs, now this was back in like 1980, I think, or 79, 80, I think it was in 80 or 81, whatever it was. But I said, I will never change my name again, ever. And to this day, I have not, because that just gave me an empowering.
It was liberating.
Freedom. I mean, and again, it's understanding, and I like the way you put it. And addition to, right? And, I got a proposal, back in the early 2000s, right? And I'm thinking, when this came up, right? I started to say something, right? And he goes, oh, and by the way, I would never ask you to change your last name, right? And it's like, whoa.
He was like, whoo, all right, thank you, Jesus. All right, you're possibly the one. But I mean, I love that you said it was liberating, because that's why we have to be protective of our name. And when I say protective, I'm not talking about fight you all. What I'm saying is be protective of your name, to the point of you have to be careful who you associate with. You have to be careful what names and things you allow other people to label you as. And you have to keep your name good. No, we're not perfect, and we've all done some crazy things, right? But when someone mentions your name, what is the first word or thought that comes to their mind? Is it a joyous person? Is it a peaceful person? Not that you may be happy-go-lucky every single day, but, or do they think of, oh no, you may want to stay away from him or her. They cause a lot of trouble. They cause a lot of drama. It's about protecting your name, because this is the thing. We can buy a lot of things.
Yes, we can.
One thing you cannot do is buy your name. One thing you cannot do, I don't care if you change it or anything, right? One thing you can't do is, it takes harder to reverse when your name has been, and I get it, some people will scorn and try to make your name bad.
Right.
But as long as you know those things aren't true, you don't have anything to worry about. And if they are, fix them. But because we're in this virtual space and all of these amazing things that the world has changed for us in 2020, look, take pride in your name, protect your name, and know that your name is special, um, and run with it. Embrace it all. Be
Right.
free in who you are. And so that leads us into even being, I love what your intro is, a better version with every single guest, because every guest, every person has a different energy. They have a different personality. They have a different background. So your transparency, even about your divorce, or even saying how you, um, you kind of lost yourself. How many of us have lost ourselves,
Right.
being a
In many
mom?
occasions, yeah, there's so many ways that we lose ourselves. And again, a lot of sometimes you really have to start looking at where has that self-sabotage come from, and begin to understand that, and when you understand the definition of your name, and not, there's a background. So like with your name, because it is a combination of, which is, I think that's amazing. So if you would look up your mother's name and get the definition of that, what the root is, and your father's, and bring that together, is going to be so powerful, because this is where the harmony comes, right? When you begin to understand what your name is. So looking that up in that definition, and definition of names have been around for eternity, even long before this whole spiritual so-called movement and all of the other stuff, there's been a meaning in that name, because it's part of the contract that you signed to come here to experience this round on the planet. And so, like my name, it has, meaning power and leadership and strength and different other things, right? It's a derivative of beaver. Beaver is what? When you look at the definition of what a beaver does, what does a beaver do? It fights to the bitter end. You push a beaver in the corner, and let me tell you, they're coming out, and they're coming out like a bull in a china store, and worse, because their bite is it's deadly. It's deadly. And being a Scorpio, let's bring a little zodiac in here. Being a Scorpio is the only animal that can kill itself. Its poison can actually kill itself. Like a rattlesnake or anything else, if it bites itself or bites another snake, it's not going to kill itself. But a Scorpio can sting itself and kill. So these are some dangerous things. These are things that you need to know. What's going on? How are you performing in your life to bring that into harmony? And not justify the outcomes, and you talk about somebody having anger and everything else. Oh my goodness. But again, it's all of that understanding, knowing where your extremes are. Where does your pendulum swing on which side of the fence, right? And then bring it into that center point.
So I love what you said in just knowing, pretty much, if we summed it up, it's really knowing the power in your name, is knowing who you are, because a lot of people may even do the research and know what their name means, but if you're not able to embrace it, if you're not able to walk in that, to own it, even
right,
those aspects of your life that are unfavorable, they still made you a part of who you are. It still builds some character in you. It either gave you some more fight, if those things gave you some more insight on who you are. So I even think of those unfavorable challenges or situations that we find ourselves in, it really gives us some more insight on what we're really capable of doing, of what we're really capable of becoming. And so when we even embrace those flaws, right? When we embrace all of who we are and really understand who we are, then that's when you won't allow people to label you anything less.
Right.
Anything less.
Very well said. And it's so true when you start looking at what that definition is, right? And you've got, like you said, you got the flaws, is the pros and the cons, right? The pros and the cons. It's like, okay, look at those pros. Are they out of balance? Are you over extreme? Because you can use an abuse of power, right? And again, bring it into that center path of harmony. Now look at the cons, right? Where are you at that? Because these are the things to help you overcome. And when you begin to overcome those things, it does what? It brings you into that harmony, and it makes you a fullness in who you are. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's how do I bring peace and harmony to myself, to ripple out, to put that peace and harmony into the world.
And I think that's where the downfall, sometimes I believe,
right,
and this is my opinion, with a lot of people, we try to dismiss those
Right.
things and push them out instead of embracing to say, okay. And I love this where, like, I'm in menopause, so I have to find ways. I always tell people, find ways to help you, because if I can help me, then I'm able to help someone else.
That's
If I
right.
can help
Mm-hmm.
me be in that harmony of having mental wellness, physical, spiritual, whatever that looks like for someone, if you can find that harmony within yourself, then it's going to explode to other areas. It's going
Oh,
to explode to other people.
that,
But we have to find ways. How can I help me? Because if I can help me, then I can be what I need to be as a wife. If I can help me, then I don't have to be that grouchy coworker, even in menopause, right? Because if you're not in menopause, then you may not understand where I'm coming from. The hot flashes, that's why y'all saw me doing this. My air is down to like almost 60, and I still have hot flashes, but I find ways. How can I help me? Because it's no one else's fault. If we quit doing this, the blame game, and take responsibility for
right.
our own actions and say, you know what, how can I help me to be happy? How can I help me to live a peaceable and joyous life? Even in the midst of a pandemic, right? Even in the
Yes.
midst of shutdowns and everything, how can I help me to stay in a great mindset and a space that that energy flows to other people?
Oh, very well said, and it's so factual, to do that. And thank you for sharing, because it really makes a huge difference. And let's talk about menopause after the show, because I'll show you how to get rid of those. I never went through it. I didn't have to, because it's an understanding of, again, we talk about that harmony. When you bring your hormones into harmony, right? But you don't know what you don't know.
You don't
So
know what you don't know.
no, no, you sure don't. So
Yeah, you really don't. And so that's why it's so important to surround yourself with other individuals. That's why I love connecting with people.
right,
So that we can build a relationship, because first of all, we're not here, we're not going to be here forever. So we don't really have time to learn every single thing. So that's why um, we don't have time to learn everything. So when you surround yourself with like-minded individuals, you surround yourself with individuals who don't mind sharing their expertise and their experiences. I can tell people a lot of amazing things about myself, but I may share some here and there, but I want people to understand I'm a backstory person. So I love hearing people's backstories, because there's a reason why
exactly.
you do what you do. There's a reason why you think and move and shape the way that you do. And so I feel like if people start sharing more of their backstory and sharing more of the good, the bad, what they say, the good, bad, and the ugly,
Exactly.
then that's when we're really helping people. Because telling someone all of the good, they're like, so you didn't go through anything in your life?
Sure you didn't. Sure you didn't. And again, it's part of that learning process, because it makes you who you are. That makes you the whole you. And if you're in denial of those
Mm,
parts, you're not going to reach that ultimate end, right? Because that is part of who you are. Had I not gone through the journey of losing myself, I would have never discovered the amazing truth of everything that I am,
yes,
right? And so
yes.
it's important that you really understand that. So don't look at it as like, oh, that's a bad part of me, or I was such a bad person. No, there's no good, bad. There's no, ugliness there. I mean, you might think it is. It's your perception, right? So when you look at all of these things, all you have is your is. Whatever your is for the day is. So when you start walking your talk, you don't need to be bragging about you, because you're living it. You're an
Right.
expression of it. And you mentioned something earlier at the show. You said, yeah, I haven't slept. I'm all this bundle of energy and everything. It's like, I am so happy to meet somebody because I'm on that same page. People ask me, how do you just stay energized all the time? How come you just go, 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 go? And it's like, well, when you open yourself to the abundance of the energy in the universe, it never runs out. And I always say, hey, sleep is overrated. You can sleep when you're dead, right? Because if, if you're not living, you're dying.
And so many people, and so many people are. And that's why I
Yeah.
say I don't just want to coast in life. I want to live life. I want to live in the abundance. I want to maximize the moment. Right? We do all this planning, and I'm a planner by nature. Don't get me wrong. I'm a planner by nature. I like things in order, but I'm even learning more. You all, December 29th, I'll be 41. And so I'm learning even more with my three children, with my spouse. Let's enjoy the moments because we're always hustle, bustle, run here and there, have this to do. But even in that, how are you maximizing your moment? Because so many moments, as we even look over 2020,
Right.
so many moments have been taken away. So we had a 2020 grad. We didn't even know if she was going to be able to walk. That was that I say my moment, y'all. That was my moment.
I know. I had a grandson that graduated in 2022, and it's like, oh my gosh, and they had to do it by Zoom. It was like crazy, and it's like,
we ended
oh
up
man.
having a graduation, but it was so far down the line, but it was still so up in the air. And so when I
Yeah.
hear people saying, you know what, I'll be so glad when 2020 is over, just throw it in the trash. And I'm like, no, because 2020 has opened our eyes to so many things. We've never had something hit the entire globe. And
Oh
so
gosh.
my thing is where people initially at the beginning of the year, oh, 2020 vision, this, that, and the third. We have had 2020 vision. We've had some eye openers to so many things, from our finances to not giving the power just to your employer because so many people became unemployed.
Right.
Don't give that power to someone to decide if your family's going to eat. So what are you going to do? How are you going to be able to create another multiple stream, create multiple streams of income? How are you going to be able to protect yourself? And we even saw half of the things that we do, we don't even need.
It's so true, I mean, it's really a rude awakening, but it was an awakening, and again, we look at everything. So everything in the rearview mirror, everything that's 2020, and all of a sudden here's 2020, and that energy again too. I think is a lot of the synergisms that we've been talking about. So what can you do? How do you balance that? And it's like for me, oh my gosh, it's been amazing, right? So and again, you look at the jobs that are lost. Okay, seriously, look at yourself. This 9 to 5 that you had, if that's what it was, were you 100% passionate in what it is that you were doing, or were you like only there because of the paycheck at the end of the week?
Well, that's what I was thinking too, Beverly. I said some of the ones who were, and I know it wasn't everyone,
Right.
but some people that I even had heard on myself, you were complaining every day going there, right? Oh my God, I hate this place. Oh God, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
So then when it was snatched away, I'm like, well, remember though, you were complaining about this same day. And I'm not saying that every day you're going to be happy to roll out of bed and take your commute. I'm not saying that. But once again, we have to be careful of the words that's coming out of our mouth.
Right.
Because none of us saw the pandemic coming, especially for things to be shut down as long as they were. And a lot of families and businesses are still suffering, even closing down now. But then my thing is this: 2020 has afforded us an opportunity to do some things different. It has afforded us the opportunity to connect with more people all around the world, where it afforded us to spend more time with your kids. It's afforded so many things. And of course, on the flip side of that, your heart goes out to those who may be in domestic violence situations and different things as such. But overall, when I hear people like throw 2020 in the trash, and I'm like,
oh
no. What's one thing that you can take away from 2020 that you'll say, you know what, I can use this lesson? Because I say there were just so many lessons.
Right. And again,
it's not your security.
It's that perspective, right? It's this mindset that you have and how you perceive. So if you're going to perceive 2020 being a nightmare, guess what? That's what it is. But if you perceive it as an opportunity, then that's what it is. You mentioned something. It's an opportunity to connect globally. And when we look at all of the different ways of connecting, there's more Facebook Lives, there's more summits. There's more. You name it. We are over inundated by face-to-face type of things, and just what we're doing right here. Now you're seeing behind me another picture. This is my avatar. And my partner and I started this world in virtual reality prior to the pandemic, where we put our business together, and it's on a virtual reality platform, which is the avatars, which basically is a multi-billion-dollar industry when you look at it through gaming. Where are the kids today? Where have the last couple generations been? Right there, right? In that technology. And this is how kids are learning. Well, what we did is we took the game out of gaming, and we left the fun, okay, which is good, and we moved in business. Zoom to Zoom, it causes a lot of fatigue, right? Because of the static energy, and that's another program. But when you're immersed, and you don't have to have the goggles to be immersed on the platforms that we're using, and you're in that avatar world, your brain says, oh wow, there's somebody right here. And you're in communication. Now you've opened up a whole global aspect. And when you're on that platform, you are in a reality that becomes your truth. Yes. And what it does, it brings that connectedness. There's no social distancing in there. There's no COVID anything in there. But it brings businesses back together. We have boardrooms where you can come and join us. We can build for you your office. We're working with real estate people. We're working with ministries, because now they can have their virtual reality church where all the members can come in, and it's a community. We're building communities in there. So if anybody's...
And that's what a lot of people have been missing.
Yeah.
But I even said, because I am a hugger. I'm that person. But
same here, and it's like, yeah, there's nothing like the human touch.
It's not, and I feel that a lot of people have deteriorated.
Yes. In
some aspects because of the lack of sometimes the human touch.
Right.
And so, especially just in this time, but we have to be safe. But I can honestly say most of the Zooms and different things that I have been on, regardless what platform that may be on, I even did a summit myself, back to back, for menopause and mimosas, and the feedback and different things that I got.
Now I like that mimosa thing.
Yes, menopause and mimosas. And so, because we're bringing more awareness to menopause, it's not a topic that is of discussion enough. And so,
right.
The more I do believe, the more educated that we are in it. I was thrown in it due to a full hysterectomy 10 years ago. And so that's the goal, just bringing awareness. But we're able, I love what you said, we're able to connect. And when you have that right energy, even in the Zoom or whatever platform, you literally feel connected to someone that you've never met.
Right. I just like here, all right? This is our first actual meeting. We haven't even talked on the phone or anything else. Here we are, carrying on a conversation as if we've known each other all our life. And so, which is really cool, and that's what I love about the show. It's helping you, share, with the audience here, how to become that better you. So when I get up in the morning, and I'm laying there in my meditations, it's like, okay, what am I going to do today to become a better me? It's like, whoa, I get to talk to Carleeka this morning. Wow, this is going to be awesome, right? And
I wish more people said that when they get up in the morning. What can I do?
That's right.
Not what anyone else can do. Not what your spouse can do. Not what your employers or what they can do. What can I do to become a better version of myself? To me, that is a powerful statement where I'm taking responsibility.
Yes.
I have the responsibility for my happiness. Yes, my husband and kids can bring me some joy, but I can't we have the audacity to place all that power to someone else.
Yeah.
And they're trying to have that harmony and that flow in their own life. They're individuals. So what can I do today? Not next week, not tomorrow. What can I do today? Because my eyes are open today. I'm breathing today. So what can I do? And I love that. I just love that. Typically, I meditate in things too. I exercise and all of those amazing things for mental and just having clarity and having a clear mind where I don't like feeling cluttered. You all, we can have like a brain fog and a foggy, just too many thoughts going on. And
Yes.
so that meditation piece for me is so important. I do believe that how you do anything is how you're going to do everything. So I teach my clients, hey, what are your positive daily routines? What are you doing on a daily basis?
Right.
Are you recognizing your triggers? Are you recognizing the things that really agitate you? Are you recognize? And then how are you going to help yourself? Not how someone else is going to help you. How do you plan on helping you? So that's all in becoming the better version of ourselves. So I love what your show means. I don't go on everyone's podcast and different things because it needs to align.
No, that's so true. It really is because I mean, you can go out there and just hit any of them and all of them and whatever because there's millions of them out there. But again, it's like you said, what resonates with me? Because when it resonates with you, it can resonate to the world, and your message is going to be heard by those that need to hear that. Wayne Dyer made a statement that I carry with me dearly. Don't die with your story in you. So whether you write a book, whether you share it on a show, a podcast, or whatever, is getting that out because it will change someone else's lives. Carleeka,
I love that. I love that because I'm always encouraging people, share your story.
Yes.
Someone needs to hear your story because you are someone's hope. You could even be someone's lifeline and you don't even know it.
Exactly.
So I love how you summed that up. Don't die with your story, regardless of how it's shared.
Yeah.
Quit being quiet.
Yeah,
So
don't be embarrassed about it because it's made you, and if it helped you get to where you are, what makes you think it's not going to help someone else?
One of my coaches says all the time, your story was about you, but it wasn't for you. Dr. Sherwood, that's one of my coaches, and she's like, yes, your story was about you, but it's not for you because those things that we went through, I went through an eating disorder, so I overcame that. You went through a divorce, so you overcame that. Guess what? It's another woman out there, another man going through a divorce, going through an eating disorder, going through those limiting beliefs, and so we're not sharing it. How dare us?
Exactly. That it does. Oh God, I got chills on that. That is so true because it's really helping and communicating because sometimes you get, we all get in that position. We've all been in that downer to the point of, wow, where do I go from here? And just listening, just hearing the word of someone else saying that, it's like, oh my gosh, there is hope for me. If she did it, why can't I do it?
Why not?
So, Carleeka, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
So you can just contact me or follow me on Facebook, and it's going to be Carleeka Basnight-menendez. That is, you can message me, all of those amazing things, but that's right on Facebook. And you type in that name, I'm going to pop up. There's no one else out there.
Yeah, there's nobody else out there. There's only going to be one of that one. And that brings us to, another thing. Each of us is an individual. We are each one and unique within our own little snowflake of who we are. So find your uniqueness, be an expression of it, and really begin to understand the truth of who you are. Be an expression of it, live it, walk your talk, no matter what that is. It's not about what other people think about you. It's what you think about you. And bring that, incorporate that into finding the best you that you can be. So, Carleeka, do you have one more just little message here that you can share with the world before we call it a show?
I will tell you all I live by this, just have an effort attitude. And with the effort attitude, it's not the effort you're thinking about, but you use your faith. Whatever that looks like for you, you're believing for something, go after it. 2, you're going to have challenges, so face it. Face your challenges, deal and heal with whatever you need to do so that you can move on and be free to be you. And then the third thing is be fully committed. So we're going to faith it, we're going to face it, and we're going to fulfill it. So go out there. Look, you all, we're coming into the last month of 2020, but go out there and go ahead and F it. Have an F it attitude, meaning, you know what? I am going to get it. So thank you, Beverly. I appreciate you. And I have had a blast up here with you.
I know, we have definitely got to get you back on the show again. This has been amazing. And thank you so much for sharing with the audience, because your message is very powerful, and being in that oneness of who you are. So it's time to go out there and go be that best you that you can be. Why? Because Carlita and I, we are going to be the best we that we can be, and we are going to show the world that, hey, everyone makes a difference. Bye for now.
Bye.